He stopped at nothing until he earned the title broadcast journalist. Frank Thomas, a CSRA native, rose from the grips of the Jim Crow era and the civil rights movement to tell stories on a platform where no one who looked like him had ever done so before him.
It didn't dawn on me. It should have, that I was the first black reporter. It didn't hit me.
He's back on Channel 6 again. Frank Thomas, Augusta, Georgia's first black reporter. Between 1971 and 1981, the Beach Island, South Carolina native was living history at WJBF.
If you put me out there, I'm going to find the story.
Though he grew up poor, thumbing a ride from the Palmetto State to the Peach State to attend school, Thomas joined the Air Force. He spent 12 years traveling the world before setting his sights on Armed Forces Radio television.
The guy called Randolph Air Force Base and said, he told me to stay on the line but not to say anything. He said, Sergeant Thomas is going to get out unless you let him cross-train.
Rejected plans led Thomas back down south to Augusta. He interviewed with WJBF News Director Jim Davis.
He said, I like the way you sound. When can you come to work?
He started a year later in 1971 following Augusta's race riots that shut the city down. He covered local government stories, and there were many to tell.
I'd write maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds on that out of these different committee meetings. And it got to the point when we were tagging it, like if I'm doing the audio and I say, this is Frank Thomas, all you had was just about every time, every story was, this is Frank Thomas, this is Frank Thomas. So finally, Jim said, look, why don't we just tag it one time? It was funny that but I was doing the stories, and that's what we wanted, you tag it, but I was monopolizing the newscast.
No topic was untouchable, that's right. Augusta's first black reporter had the Ku Klux Klan beat, too.
They had this big cross in the night, and they were in their sheets there, and the cross is burning. Now, if it wasn't for what it represented, like hate, you talk about something look beautiful at night out there, you take away the hate, but this thing is burning.
Though he didn't see hate, some did.
These kids said, take my picture, take my picture. And so apparently they figured I had not taken that picture, so they yelled out, take my picture, and they used the N-word. So I said to myself, I said, now, you know, here I am. I started not to come back south. Here I am going through this. And then I'm walking along with my camera and my stuff to the car, and I meet these two older white people, a husband and wife, I assume. And they looked at me and they said, Frank Thomas, we love you. We watch you all the time.
Thomas says he fought for the top story daily and developed the best relationships along the way. He found a friendship in the local police chief, Jim Beck, who he says was set in his ways during the 70s when it came to black-white relations.
I was in front of him and he took his knee and nudged me in the back, and I got behind him and nudged him back. And he said, I'm the chief. I said, I'm a news reporter. We became the best of friends. It got to the point where I could go to the police station. I could go and look through all of the records that I wanted to. There was not another reporter that could do that, black or white.
He held the historic position for a decade and then made a tough decision.
I knew that I was not going to be the next news director. I had found that out.
Thomas transitioned into his new role as executive director of the Human Relations Commission, where he fought for equal housing, employment, and education for 28 years. Looking back, the husband and father of 3 adult children is thankful.
I think it was a wonderful experience. I got to know a lot of people. A lot of people got to know me, and there are so many people of goodwill at that time in this area. I mean, not just wherever you would go. I mean, people just would love me, and a lot of them were white.
Thomas broke barriers for African-American journalists after him. I certainly stand on his shoulders and can learn from someone who will stop at nothing until their dreams come true. Back to you.